everybody, and welcome to the Fortress of Comic News, episode 239. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside he apparently knows imaginary numbers, Mike.
Yeah, I imaginary numbers, but I don't know the difference between consonants and vowels. I know, hold on, I'd like to buy a vowel. Okay, vowels are the important ones. Those are the ones you buy on Wheel of Fortune.
This says everything about the American education system that Mike knows what a vowel is based on Wheel of Fortune.
I was educated in New York State, and that's supposedly one of the best states to be educated in. So what does that tell you, folks? It tells you that Florida is doomed.
So we're all doomed.
Except for one person. We have a very special guest today, Brendan Albetsky. We're going to talk to him about his very, very cool comic book, Marukiru Destroy the Moon. It's a barbarian futuristic tale, and it's pretty awesome. So stick around for that.
Good stuff.
Really good stuff. I know we talk about this all the time, that everything we read for interviews and for people and for Kickstarters, we don't necessarily like that much. But man, we're on a roll lately. The stuff I've been reading is like, damn, I want more of that. You know?
Yeah.
The issue ended, and I'm like, shit, give me more pages. But I didn't want to tell Brendan that, to pressure him. But more pages.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Always trying to keep it positive. I mean, even when we don't like something, we'll shy away from our criticisms a little bit. Yeah. But
except for I see you all over Twitter about Harbinger, man. You won't let that shit go. Holy shit! Talk about beating a dead horse. I mean, damn.
So I'm shocked that Valiant still works with us in any way.
I'm surprised they haven't blocked you on Twitter. It's awesome.
I've been shitting on them for their Kickstarter, and it's well deserved because a multi-billion-dollar company owns you. You shouldn't be running a Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's been crazy seeing these Kickstarters come out.
And I did make a joke because they put dude, when it was in front of me, I had to do it.
Yeah,
because they put out a thing, their new run on Harbinger, and
the man that doesn't die, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, and just a sneak peek in the future, we're gonna be talking to that writer soon.
Yeah. Nice.
But Peter's that shit, whatever the fuck his name is, I don't care. In the first volume of Harbinger, he rapes a woman.
Yeah.
And I took much offense to this when I read it. And then when I saw the poster, it was like wanted Peter, and he's like being chased by the law. And I was like, so he's finally going to be arrested for raping a woman? Is that what's going to happen?
Have they finally caught on? Although, okay, for the people, any new fans that don't know what the hell's going on, we've had the writer on the show. We've talked about it was a little more constructed criticism than what Chris is going off about. And we had nice conversation. He's actually the writer of Odin's Eye that comes out soon for Bad Idea Comics.
Good dude. Joshua Dysart. Good dude.
Yeah, Joshua Dysart. Really good dude. Really crazy, awesome guy. So go back and look for that interview, because it was a really interesting interview to find out what he did in his life. He went over to some third world countries, did some research, wrote some comics about it. So nothing against him, but also he took the criticism very well, and he knew that it wasn't his best work for sure.
Yeah. I've been getting a little more punchy on Twitter recently, though.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
as long as people keep coming on the show, I mean, yeah, just don't ever go like Rob Liefeld kind of punchy, where you're just like punching into the dark and people don't want to listen to you anymore.
No, I feel like I got punchy about one. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I got punchy about one thing, and it wasn't even punchy. It was more like I just didn't accept the criticism that was being given. Mm-hmm. I thought it was out of line, but other than that, I've been making some jokes at Valiant and shit, but
but it's crazy, like the shit, like because I've been following more people.
Actually, I did punch at Legendary recently too.
Yeah, Legendary, and because we keep bringing this up, these billion-dollar companies, because Legendary is part of Warner Brothers, I believe, that don't want to put out a graphic novel to sell it. They want you to pay for the graphic novel to be made. So you're telling me that like the Legendary Pictures has a budget and they're not allocating any of it to their publishing department to make a graphic novel.
And that movie, I mean, we're talking about the Dune movie adaptation, everybody.
Yeah.
That movie made a shitload of money. They just greenlit a second,
Yep.
And the director and writer are already in talks to do more Dune movies outside of the second. So it's obviously successful. Like,
yeah, it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I did some good news about HBO Max. I did start watching the Long Halloween animated movies.
Oh, nice.
There's part 1 and part 2 are on there. Really good. I mean, The Long Halloween's a great story, but I completely forgot that Jensen Ackles from Supernatural does the voice of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And not a bad job. I actually I like it. I mean, nothing will ever be Kevin Conroy, let's be honest. It's not as deep as or like brooding as Kevin Conroy, and it's also not the Troy Parker from Arkham. So is that his name, Troy Parker, that does all the video games? I believe
it's Troy Parker,
yeah. But it's kind of somewhere in the middle, and it's not bad. I mean, you can kind of tell it's Jensen Ackles, but I think it's so good for him. You know, he did part 1 and part 2, and I think it's interesting if he does more. So it's not bad. I didn't, nothing. It's hard to like even hearing Adam West in animation is pretty awesome too. But he's not bad.
So it's Roger Craig Smith as Batman. Troy Baker, which is who we were thinking of.
Troy Baker.
He plays Joker.
Okay. Yeah. I thought Troy Baker did Batman for some of the other video games too, though.
I think he did Batman for the Telltale one.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where he did Batman. Yeah, because he's one of the few guys that's done both. So yeah.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah. So either way, still not bad. You should check it out. I'm curious what you think.
Troy Baker, one of those people on this earth that's just unfair. Like, you shouldn't be that talented and that good looking at the same time.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
Like, you're always surprised when you see like this guy is a voice actor. You know, he must look like Smeagol or something. And then he comes out and it's like, why is he not a regular actor?
He's also a musician. So I met him at a PAX one time because I do enjoy his work. But yeah, he's also a musician. And he's like a very talented guitarist too. It's like, dude, you are not fair. Like, leave some for the rest of us, dude.
Unworthy. I always remember, is it when Captain America walks into the Apple store and the Apple genius working there is just like, specimen, you know? That's one of my favorite. I think it's Winter Soldier when him and Black Widow are like undercover and they're like, where can we go to use the internet? Oh, the Apple store. And the guy, like the nerdy guy walks up and he's like, what can I help you with today? And he's like, we're fine. He's like, okay, specimen. It's like, anyways, yeah. So we got a little bit of news here. Disney finally released a trailer for the Boba Fett series, Book of Boba Fett. It looks awesome. Basically Boba is in the shoes. I can't really say shoes in the in the slime trail of of Jabba the Hutt. He's on the throne, right? He's the master now of mischief and crime. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a cool look at part of the Star Wars universe, like the gangster part of Star Wars universe that's like always intrigued people. Mm-hmm. And there's so many books, so many comics, so many everything about like that universe, the bounty hunters, the gangsters, all that shit. Mm-hmm. So to actually do it and have Boba Fett be the one at the lead, like, fucking sign me on. It looked awesome. He looks badass.
And he's in the trailer, I think he says something about not a bounty hunter. So he's kind of like distancing himself from that life.
Yeah.
Right? But he still wants to be like a crime lord.
Yeah, and he says it's the line of like, I'm not going to rule through fear, but through respect. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a few things where he's definitely trying to change his image in this new world. So this is hands down my most anticipated thing. The whole Mandalorian crew is doing this, so I have no doubt it's going to be awesome.
Now, I can't remember. Was Grogu taken from the Mandalorian at the end of the season?
Yeah, remember Luke showed up.
Yeah, Luke showed up, but he takes Grogu with him?
Yeah, to go train, and then eventually get killed by Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Get murdered. I'm just wondering, like, what is the bigger picture here with it? Like, he must be going after something, but what is he going after? Right? Is there going to be a big heist? Like, is there what is his place in all of this?
It could be something as simple as a power vacuum, and even though he's kind of taken that spot, somebody's going to challenge him for it,
right?
And maybe it's how that. But I'm sure there's a bigger story in play here. It'd be an interesting thing of what they do with it moving forward. But
I mean, they could just show off his gadgets every episode, and I'd be happy.
Yeah, he could just beat the fuck out of somebody with that weird stick he has, and I'd be happy every episode.
I think the interesting part, though, like they even say in the trailer, he doesn't beat the shit out of anybody. Like, you know, all the people sitting at the table are all bounty hunters that had tried to kill him in the past. Like, and they're basically like, oh, they would kill you for this insubordinance, or Jabba the Hutt would kill you for this insubordinance. But he kind of just sits there at the table, like he knows he can kill all of them, and they know it too.
Yeah,
but he doesn't really need to do anything, you know.
I'm also really happy, and I'm zoning on the name, but the woman who's kind of the co-lead in this.
Oh yeah, she was really good,
and she's really good in that. She was really good in Bad Batch. She had a few episodes in that voice acting. Okay. I like that character, and I'm glad that she's a part of it as well. Like, I think it's gonna be a cool little combo. So
yeah, I'm really excited for it. I mean, Disney hasn't done us wrong yet, so
at least in the TV realm.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you haven't seen Eternals?
No. Have you seen Eternals?
I have not seen Eternals. I'm just seeing that there's some mixed reviews about Eternals.
So that's kind of what I was hinting at, what I punched back on. But
yeah.
But yeah, so I guess critics are kind of split on it, or at least more disliking it than liking it, while the audience scores have been really high and people are loving it. Everybody I talk to says it's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is kind of one of the first big Marvel IPs that hasn't hit home run, at least in the critic score right off the bat.
Yeah, and I mean, come on, I'm a DC fan. I know what this feels like. I've been in the trenches. I've seen some shit.
I was born in the darkness.
You really adopted it. Like, this is just a blip on the screen. But I saw some interesting things. Like, Mark Bernardin usually has I usually fall in line with like what Mark Bernardin's critique on things, and Fat Man and Beyond. But he tweeted something like, because people kept asking for his review, and he said something about, because I'm working for Marvel now, I can't give out my review yet, but it'll happen eventually. And I was thinking, like when Batman vs Superman came out, he tore that movie to shreds, like the night after seeing it, and like it was just weird for him not to be able to review the movie and like talk about it on Twitter. And I was like, why is he not being able to talk about it? You know, is it because it's going to be a bad review? Like,
so people may not like this analysis, but if he's under contract with Disney has been known to kind of throw people aside if they don't go with the flow.
Okay.
We've seen it both in this realm. We've seen it in kind of the politics realm. We've seen it in a bunch of realms.
Yep.
So I could see why he would kind of not want to.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely biased.
It's a little cowardice, but
yeah.
But I think him saying I can't review it tells you what you need to, because if it was something positive, I'm pretty sure you had no problem going out there and be like, it's great, guys.
Like just seeing that, I was like, oh man, even Mark has some issues with it. And I'm sure I'm gonna watch it and enjoy it. I mean, I loved Fast and the Furious 9, and they fucking drove a car into space, so like nothing really disappoints me anymore, you know. And it looked like a cool movie. I think the only issue here is not issue. I read an interview with the director, and the director said that Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, was a big influence on. I think there's a character named Icarus, or something like that,
who's basically Superman.
Yeah, basically Superman, and said that like the approach Zack Snyder had with like the Superman revealing himself and the way humans on Earth would like worship him, or how the media would handle him, was a pretty interesting take. But like, all I'm thinking is, I love Man of Steel, but the critics did not, you know. And that's the same thing. Like, Man of Steel is, it's one of my favorite superhero movies, but I know that when people start punching people through like mountains and buildings, the critics tend to go like, downvote. Like,
it's. I'm sure I was going to go see it last night and then ended up not doing it, but I'm sure it's going to be at worst an average Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Which in my opinion is still good. Like, I think we're going to get into a realm here where the critics aren't going to be as like. I'm starting to see more negativity towards Marvel in particular from like the established crowd. And I'm starting to see a lot of negativity towards comic book stuff in general from the established crowd. So I think you're going to see more and more negativity across the realm. And fine. I mean, it's like I said to someone on Twitter, like it's going to make $1 billion.
Right.
So what does it matter?
It's going to make a ton of money.
I think actually the only thing holding it back from making $1 billion, did you hear that they aren't censoring it for foreign markets?
Oh, because there's a a kissing scene between two men or something.
Yeah, there's a gay couple in the movie. Okay. Which, whatever.
Yeah.
Some of the some countries, specifically Middle East countries, I believe, are banning it for that reason. So
yeah, I did see that.
That might affect it. I don't know how. The big one's China. Like, how does China react to that shit? I don't really know how they react to that stuff. So,
well, The Rock isn't in it, so nobody's going to watch it in China.
Well, you've seen the side-by-sides of Chinese posters and American posters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And they just take the black guy out of it every time?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the posters.
Yeah, there's some heavy editing that goes into China. We know Disney is catered to it hard.
Yeah.
But, like, good for them to not putting their foot down, but also they could have not, or putting their foot down. But like you said, would those countries really affect their market?
I don't know. Yeah, I think China's the big one. Like, we got to see how China reacts to it.
If China's okay with it, then.
But kudos to them for sticking their guns and be like, no, this is the movie. Like, take it or leave it.
So this is it Morbius? Mobius.
I always say Morbius.
I don't even know. The Spider-Man spinoff with Jared. I could, some part of my brain forgot about this. Jared Leto being a vampire for the Marvel Universe. It almost looks just like Venom to me. Just like insert Jared Leto and insert fangs instead of like weird alien symbiote. Does it look any like it's going to blow my mind? No. Will I watch it? Probably yes. It's like we talked about, but the trailer is kind of cool. I was surprised how far they went with his like transformation. Like, I'm like, when the trailer first dropped, I'm like, oh, these guys aren't going to pull the trigger. They're just going to keep him as a normal human face. But towards the end, it gets kind of like Uncanny Valley shit, where it's like, yeah, he's pretty much a monster almost.
There's a few cool CGI moments where his face like kind of flickers.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know. I agree with everything you said, but the two big things here are what universe is this taking place in? Because I don't know if you saw, but
I saw it. Michael Keaton.
Well, Michael Keaton's in it, yes.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's in it.
There's also a poster in the background, and it's Garfield Spider-Man.
What the hell is happening?
Yeah.
Because I saw Michael Keaton, and I was really confused.
Well, apparently, did we talk about the ending of Venom? Because I haven't gone to see it, but it got spoiled for me.
I haven't watched it yet. No.
Do you know the end credit spoiler?
No, I haven't. Just tell me. What is it?
Oh, it's that Tom Holland's Spider-Man like goes over to that universe or something like that. They're connecting Venom into the MCU is basically what it is.
Wait, what?
So I'm sitting there going like, okay, so now all this Sony shit's going to get connected into the MCU. Or if you've seen the stuff about how this is the end of the Spider-Man trilogy and what that really means, maybe Holland's popping over and he's actually done the MCU.
I don't know.
There's so much weird shit going on. I don't know. I love it because it's just like, it's like, oh my god, we're dealing with Final Crisis shit here.
Yeah, we're dealing with normal comic book shit. Like, that's like the end. You're a Venom fan. You read the end of the Venom issue. Spider-Man from a like Ultimate Spider-Man pops up at the end of the issue. You're like, well, what the fuck issue do I read now to understand what's going on? It's like, what movie do I have to wait for, and what movie do I have to watch before this one to understand what the hell is going on?
I don't know. I love it just because
Yeah.
the confusion and like weirdness
Yeah.
of comics is coming over. But
someone in the writers' room like, no, they'll understand. The fans will understand. Yeah, Tom Holland appears at the end. It's like, wait, but we had a poster in the Morbius movie for Garfield Spider-Man. They're like, oh, he'll show up too. Don't worry. Like, oh my god,
we're gonna recreate the meme. Don't worry, everybody.
And then Michael Keaton's Batman in the Slash movie. I don't know what Disney and Marvel or DC and Marvel are doing, but Michael Keaton's cashing out.
Yeah,
That's all I know. This dude is making money. Good for him.
He doesn't need that money. Yeah. He has that the founder money.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Really good movie. Really good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never watched it.
It's about the guy who stole the name McDonald's from the McDonald's brothers.
Yeah.
And then made it into a global thing.
That's crazy.
Michael Keaton is phenomenal.
As he always is, you know. Okay, so before the interview, let's talk rumor time.
Yes.
And as far as rumors go, this is a leak on Reddit, okay? And also, I will say there's a lot of... I do follow the DC Entertainment Universe leaks subreddit. There's some juicy stuff on there. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not.
This person, too, has been known to be correct in the past.
Okay.
So that's throwing that out there.
So, some upcoming news on Marvel Disney Plus series. First was that Blade will be making his premiere in the Moon Knight series. Not a big reach, considering Moon Knight's connection to the vampire world in Marvel. Okay. That's not like a huge... Like, that's really cool, but it's not a huge thing. Also, it said of the She-Hulk series... Now, this is huge. We'll see MODOK as the main villain. Not only that, but Jim Carrey has been cast as MODOK. My God. Why have we not seen this coming? That's amazing.
So, Blade appearing, whatever. I mean, yeah, vampires.
We're going to get a giant Jim Carrey face floating around.
We're going to get a giant Jim Carrey face. So now Jim Carrey plays two of my childhood villains of Eggman and now MODOK.
Yep.
And I guess you could throw Riddler in there too.
Yeah, he's the Riddler. Yeah.
But it's just so great.
Yeah,
I love everything about this.
I hope it's true.
I hope it is too.
Yeah.
I think you need to add like something to She-Hulk to kind of get it into the normie crowd a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like I think there's enough there for that character to break out and be something cool.
Yep.
She's been a beloved character for a long time. But if you throw out there like, oh, by the way, fucking giant head big Jim Carrey's coming along and he's gonna be this killer robot thing that leads AIM to like world domination, everybody's like, well, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah. It's like, are you watching the She-Hulk show? Well, no. Well, Jim Carrey's in it. What? Yeah, like of course I'll watch it now. You know.
Yeah, I'm so down for this. I'm so ready. I got Modoc's first appearance sitting right over here. Everybody.
Yeah, dude.
So.
Chris is ready. He's got the eBay. He's got the eBay account ready to cash in. Okay, let's get to this awesome interview we have with Brendan, and we'll see everybody on the other side.
And we're back.
We're back.
Did we ever really leave?
I don't know. Did we? $5 for 50-something pages of comic. Go support him and the awesome comic he's made. It's really good shit. That's all I can say.
Yeah, good stuff. Barbarians, pretty colors. Love it.
Comic book news. Let's get into it. Currently, Andrea Sorrentino and Jeff Lemire are releasing their miniseries Primordial, but Lemire recently took to Twitter to announce the team's next series launching in 2022. This series is called The Bone Orchard Mythos and will be a 6-issue series published by Image Comics. It's going to bring this team back to the horror genre. Sign me the hell up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Primordial's awesome. Gideon Falls is awesome.
Yeah, I got to read Primordial. It's one of those that I've been reading so much shit lately that I just can't. Sometimes it's hard to remember what I forgot to read. You know?
Yeah, I'm liking it. It might be better read. I'll talk about issue 2 here later, but it might be better read in trade when it's all done. To be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, and I do like that for horror books.
And to go back to something a little bit more mainstream, everybody, their Green Arrow run was phenomenal too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm down for this. I'll check it out.
Aftershock.
It's not too spooky.
Yeah, you got to sleep at night. Aftershock Comics announced that Garth Ennis and PJ Holden will launch Lion and the Eagle in February 2022. This series will be another one of Ennis's war comics, this time centered around a small British pilot squad trying to fight off Japanese combatants during World War II. Aftershock and Garth Ennis, I'll probably check out at least the first couple issues. I was never big into war comics, especially. Not especially. Even if Garth Ennis was writing it, it wasn't going to get me to read a war comic, but I'll take a shot for Aftershock.
I've tried some of his war comics, just not for me. Garth loves doing them, though.
Yeah,
and, good for him. He found something he loves doing.
Yep.
But yeah, not for me.
He's just living off that cross money, you know.
Yeah,
for real.
Dude, if he's having fun, I say do it. As long as he keeps giving me that once in a while, that Peacemaker issue or that, what does he do? Marjorie Finnegan book. And
Yep. Speaking of Peacemaker, everybody, if you don't know about Hallmark and their crazy ornaments they do every year, there's a Peacemaker ornament at Hallmark right now.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, no Polka Dot Man. Was a little sad about that, but there is a Peacemaker. So
did I tell you first a Polka Dot Man story, then a Hallmark story? I saw the Polka Dot Man action figure in person, and I almost bought it.
Really?
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and it was like a decent size, like probably 12-inch figure.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah,
that is very cool.
So I went to the store recently. It's not really a Hallmark story; it's an ornament story. But I went to the store recently, and I saw the ornaments were out, and I was immediately mad because it's too early. Mm-hmm. And but they now have blind package ornaments.
Oh.
So I just like blind packages to begin with. But really, blind package ornaments?
Like, not only did you not get the ornament you want, but you have to hang it on your tree now.
Yeah. Like, it's not even like it's part of a set where you put it on your desk and you're like, well, at least I got the whole set.
Yeah.
It's a goddamn ornament.
Did you see they have a wreath, a Death Star wreath? That's pretty awesome.
That's phenomenal.
And I was in Hallmark today, and I pressed the button because the Death Star wreath has all these little platforms with like Luke and R2D2 and C3PO, like these, and Obi-Wan, and you press the button and it goes through like 10 minutes of dialogue from the movie, and I was like, it didn't stop. It was getting awkward to where like I didn't know if I pressed the button if it would stop it or if it would restart it again, so I had to leave the store because it just like at first it played the Star Wars theme, and then it was like went through the whole conversation of C3PO being like I think we were just made to suffer and all this shit, and I was like, damn, like we're just going through the whole movie right now.
Did you know that the Death Star is flat?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, okay. when Luke's flying about, there's no curve.
Yeah, that's true. It's just flying. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Wow, thanks for ruining that for me.
Flat Earth joke, everybody.
Yep, we're there for it. This week, a group of Image Comics workers announced that they're forming a union for staffed workers at the publishing house called the Comic Book Workers United, CBWU. This would be the first time that any part of the comic book industry has unionized, and it becomes a list of goals from the worker, including salary and workload transparency, continued remote working options, plans to address lack of diversity in the company, and an option to cancel any book before it's published based on the creator's actions or the content of the comic. Okay. Seems pretty fair to me, Chris.
The only thing I take issue with is the last one.
Yeah, so hold on. Is that the creator has the option to cancel any comic before it's...
The union can take a vote and cancel any book.
Oh, the union can cancel. I don't like that.
So I'm down with the rest of them. Salary stuff, remote, all that stuff's great. And trying to address diversity in any way.
Yep.
As long as the company keeps rolling and everything, that's fine. Yeah, I worry about the ability for workers to cancel something the company's doing, though. And I've just seen it go the wrong way. And I've seen where like people are like, will say something just because they don't like the person or they don't like their politics or they don't like something about them. Like, they got to go. Mm-hmm. I don't think workers should have that right. I think they should have a say. I'll say that. I believe they should have a say where they should be able to be like, hey, that's a that Warren guy, he's kind of been doing some inappropriate stuff with women. Like, maybe we shouldn't publish his book.
Mm-hmm.
Like happened earlier in the year. But I don't think they should be able to cancel it outright because that could lead to bad things.
Yeah, especially when it's like the main source of income that you're canceling. So, well, I mean, for indie comics writers, but
yeah, we get into this world where do you remember Call of Duty World War II? This is the best example I have of this.
Yeah,
and they were so afraid to put swastikas in the game.
Yep.
They took them out and put crosses in because they're afraid of backlash.
Mm-hmm.
They're fucking Nazis, everybody. Like, of course
they're Nazis. Like, it's a game about World War II.
So right? that's always what I worry about with that stuff. But other than that, full support. Do your thing. If you, as long as the union's a good union.
Yeah, as long as they keep doing it. This is the time where we talk about comics we've read, and I read some comics, Chris.
So did I, Mike.
I want to talk about, because we always get some nice little previews and review issues from our friends over at Ahoy Comics. I love Ahoy Comics. I love them. Love those guys. Love all the books they're doing. I got this book here called My Bad.
I haven't gotten around to that one. I wanted to read it.
By Mark Russell. I will tell you right now, you're going to love it. It's a bunch of little, not to get too much into it, but it's great. Mark Russell, does his thing with the skimming the surface of like insulting the general public and making fun of politics, but also has a whole new superhero team. There's this dude that's basically Jeff Bezos, and instead of Batman, his name's the Chandelier, and he wears a chandelier on his head.
That's phenomenal.
And he actually runs a warehouse that ships out lights and chandeliers. It's pretty amazing. Like, one of the character gets a bomb. He thinks it's a bomb delivered to him. So he asked the maid that works at he's basically Bruce Wayne, but he asked the maid, she goes, "Fuck no, I ain't touching that thing." So he invites his friend over, who's called the Man-Child, and he's basically the Hulk. And the reason they don't talk anymore is because the last time the Hulk, quote unquote, was at his mansion, they were talking about collecting albums, and they got in a fight over if a live album is considered a real album. And so that's why they don't talk anymore. So he comes back over and he's like, "I got you a gift," and he opens it up. And then he realizes, like, he gets pissed off because he's like, "You thought this was a bomb, and that's why you had me open it." So he hulks out and he like busts a hole through the house and leaves. It's amazing. I can't wait to buy issue 1 when it comes out. I got to see when it comes out.
I think it came out last week.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna put an order in. My favorite book this week, Dark Knights of Steel #1.
Damn straight it is.
What if? It's a what if story. Sorry, Marvel. First off, Tom Taylor, what up? Putri and the art. Yasmin Putri, amazing art. So not only does Superman crash land on Earth, Kal-El and Jor-El and his wife that I never remember the name of because she dies. I can't remember, but either way, the parents arrive on Earth, but they arrive in the Middle Ages, and basically Jor-El becomes a emperor or king in the land, and you have all these classic DC Comics characters like Black Lightning is the emperor, or like the rival king they talk about. So there's like a divide between magic and whatever the hell Superman is, because they know he's like ultra powerful.
Vulnerable. Well, he's also vulnerable to magic.
Vulnerable to magic, exactly. We find out at the end of the issue that Bruce Wayne, the Bat Knight, is the bastard son of Jor-El and Martha Wayne. And as he's telling him this, he takes an arrow to the fucking eyeball from
Jor-El does.
Yeah, Jor-El does. Takes an arrow to the eyeball from Green Lantern. And that last page was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
He's basically like, "You're my bastard. Nobody knows. Also, I just got shot in the face with an arrow. Goodbye."
So the whole issue they're talking about the Green Man. Were you thinking it was Green Lantern the whole time, or
no? I thought it was. I couldn't think of who it was. I thought it was either Swamp Thing or because Swamp Thing is timeless, right? Or just I'm trying to think, but yeah, I did not think it was Green Lantern.
That was the only thing I could think of, but my mind kept going to magic. I'm like, who has a green aesthetic that's magic, and I couldn't think of anything.
Yep.
But I'm sure somebody's yelling at their phone right now.
But I guess Green Lantern's considered magic in this universe.
I guess, because the combination of him and Green Arrow's arrow killed him. Also got him in a soft spot, right in the eye. Yeah,
right in the eye. Not very defensive. Batman Fear State, issue 116. Yeah, this wasn't a bad issue. It's a lot of shit. Gotham is still in shambles. Basically, we're at the point now where the big bads are gone, Peacekeeper's down. But now Poison Ivy's been sitting under Gotham and is all pissed off. So now she's about to bring the city down, while Harley shows up with another version of Ivy. I think her better half. So that I think Ivy's split into two right now, like an evil side and a good side. Not a bad issue. Swamp Thing. This book is so good. Swamp Thing number 9. Basically, Jennifer, who is Levi's girlfriend or friend, gets captured by this guy, the Pilgrim, because he has a body of an old Swamp Thing, and they've been using it. And he basically owns the labs from Woodrue, the original guy who was doing testing on Swamp Things. He wants the real Swamp Thing, so he captures Jennifer, and then someone shows up at the gates to fight, and they think it's Swamp Thing, but it's not. It's actually the guy. It's his brother, and so his brother kind of has the power of the green, but he doesn't care about human life, so he's just trying to kill people. So the Swamp Thing and him are fighting, and then the guy running the facility has this cryo freeze that he's going to trap them both there. So that's how the issue ends. Really good shit. I love this run on Swamp Thing. Crossover. This is crossover number
9.
What a crazy issue. I love me some Scott Snyder. I don't love me some dead Scott Snyder. There's a lot of dialogue between the guy they captured and how he's got to talk to his father about how he knew this person's killing comic book writers. The Powers people talk to the main character with the giant sword and she gives him a hint of maybe it's a comic book person that's killing them, like a comic book character that they want a glimpse of their gods, or they're tired of their creators, so they're killing them. So Scott Snyder is found dead at some con for Batman, obviously, because the movie is The Mask of Zorro, and they find a batarang in his chest. I don't know where the hell this is going, but what a great issue, right?
Yeah, and there's a great moment in there where Ellie is talking to the two characters from Powers.
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth, and then she's finally like, fuck it, let's just do it. And it's a 2-page spread with all the word balloons. Yeah, and that's a punch at Bendis, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was such a Bendis thing to do. They're like, we're not going to do the Powers thing. Well, what do you mean the Powers thing? And then it was just a conversation, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
2 in a row. So that was pretty funny.
And then for them to be like, we need EP... and we need to put an EPA or whatever it is for APB. Bendis, APB for Bendis gnoming immediately before we're killed.
Yeah.
I don't know where the ending's going, because if fucking Kate's got Batman for this, then knees down, greatest comic creator of all time.
Yeah,
I don't think he did, and now I'm trying to go through everything that fucking Snyder has done that could be related in any way.
Any Image comic stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking. But, I mean, that was 100% a Batarang.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing issue. Cool.
Radiant Black. This is number...
Also number 9.
Number 9, yeah. Great issue. We know the main character's still in a coma, so his friend feels really guilty about it. He's visiting him every day. And then it gets really depressing at the end. It was kind of tugging on your heartstrings. The parents are like, we're going to pull the plug because he's not coming out of a coma. And then at the end, he's talking to the Radiant Black and saying, why aren't you helping me? He sent him a dream basically saying, trying to give him the idea that his friend Nathan is still alive. And he's like, okay, well, you need to talk to me. And so he he puts himself in front of a train, and finally he says is going to help him. So hopefully he can bring him back before they pull the plug on him. Yeah, I think it's a great issue. It's kind of like a less punchy, more of like a dealing with your friend being gone, and now you have to take up this mantle. He tries to like get a better media presence out there, but keeps fucking things up.
Just dealing with the aftermath, and
Yep.
There's moments there where like the event happened the last issue. Now we're dealing with what's afterwards. We've got these like weird YouTubers that are like talking shit about him online, and this takes place over like 100-something days. And there's some great little moments throughout it. That was a really good, well done issue.
Reading Lost Falls, Comixology original. This book's interesting. Not really sure what's going on. It's interesting though. What it reminds me of is like Twin Peaks almost. The main character like finds the thing that's been possessing people and killing them. It possesses him, and then he kind of comes back and gets everybody back that was missing. And it almost looks like it has something to do with aliens, because like there's this big light in the sky that drops them down. And also there's supposedly a cult that lives inside the waterfall, so there's something happening there too that's kind of strange. I mean, it's interesting. It's free if you have Comixology, so unlimited, so why not read it? That's all I got to this week. Oh, I also read Monster Kill Squad number 2 by Bad Idea Comics. It's really good. You find out one of the main characters is part Bigfoot, which is kind of awesome. And then I read The Lot number 4, which is the final issue of the horror comic. Really good. The main character, who was part of the Lot, who was being tormented by this like film demon, he offers for her to take over the mantle, and then she gets revenge on everybody that was part of the film and like exploited people. So really good final issue. That's what I had this week.
So outside of stuff that we had in common, I'll start with DC versus Vampires number 1.
Oh, you did read it. Okay.
This book fucking rules.
I told you, dude. I told you.
So everything Mike talked about last week, but like, yeah, fucking Green Lantern being a vampire and like blending one of the Wonder Twins was awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I like the back lore that we're going with and how the vampires are trying to take over this version of the DC universe, and how nobody really knows, and then kind of the explanation, because the one vampire says to Green Lantern when he finds out, like, well, how are you? I saw you out in the light. How are you able to get out in the light? And he's like, I'm fucking Green Lantern, dude.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm continuing with the series. That first issue was just too dope not to.
I told you it was awesome. I'm glad you liked it.
Primordial number 2. This one deals with the dog that the Russians put out in space. So we have like a little bit of a moment of the dog going and his kind of journey into space.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ends up meeting up with the monkey from the first issue. And we cut back to Earth. The guy, our lead character, who was kind of shooed away from NASA after discovering something he wasn't supposed to, ends up in East Berlin.
Okay.
And he meets with somebody who, in the beginning of the book, we found out was that dog's caretaker, and she also has information on what's going on. So there's some sort of grand conspiracy across the nations about what's going on in space in this alternate timeline.
Okay.
Really cool book. Blue Flame number 5. I haven't talked about this book in a while.
Oh shit! Behind. I gotta watch that. Yeah, or read that.
This issue finally gets into the crux of this alien race is making Blue Flame give the case as to why the human race should be allowed to exist. Mm-hmm. And we kind of get into the arguments a little bit, but Blue Flame kind of fucks it up a little bit, and the guy going against them it's kind of the traditional story of like Blue Flame says, well, we have love and caring and we're good people, and then the other guy's like, yeah, and nukes like, and the Holocaust, and and so on and so forth. And they end up talking afterwards and he tells them like, you have to be honest, like you can't just dress it up as like the human race is all good and there's no bad. You gotta really get into the blemishes of what it is to be human. So I'm really interested in the next issue as to how he gets into that.
Mm-hmm.
What's also interesting is we had this like B story of what I thought was him prior to going into space as this vigilante on Earth in this town, and then a bad event happens, and everybody dies but him. Like this lone gunner comes in, kills everybody except for him, and he's badly injured. You're led to believe that that's a prequel to all this.
Okay.
In this issue, they kind of hint that the space stuff happened prior. So I don't know what's going on. Like Cantwell's getting real weird with the story, but it's so good. It's so good in every
awesome.
way. Newburn number 1. So this is an Image Comics number 1. It's Chip Zdarsky and Jacob Phillips, son of the great Sean Phillips, and it's a crime noir book. So it was my book of the week.
Yep.
We got this guy who is kind of a private detective now. He works for the different mobs in New York City, and it takes place in kind of modern times. So he gets money from all the different organized crime organizations, and his job is basically to find out who killed who in a certain scenario. And we got this kid who was no longer part of the Italian mob, who ends up dead with like a bunch of coke lost. And he goes in there and tries to solve it. He does. And then he meets this woman who he's realizing has a talent for this as well, and kind of brings her under his wing. So it's a one and done issue that kind of sets up who this person is and who our cast is. And I really loved it. It's
awesome.
It's great. And Jacob Phillips, hopefully he sticks around for a while, because he's phenomenal. But that was everything this week.
Awesome.
Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you under the show?
You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, and the show at Fortress Comics _ on Twitter. Also at FortressComicNews.com. Remember, everybody, if you're watching this, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below on the YouTube. And if you are listening to our adultery tones, to give us a 5-star review on whatever podcatcher you use, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, so on and so forth. And if you want to go the extra mile, patreon.com/fortresscomics. So thank you all so much for listening this week, and we'll see you all here next week.
Bye-bye.